I'm Mike Coyle, and you're watching Inside Exploration. Today I'm here with Marcel Robillard, who is the president and CEO of Puma Exploration, listed on the TSX Venture under PUMA. Marcel, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, I really appreciate the time. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. We love having you. You're always full of life. So I wanted to talk today about some of the technicals of your project. You've done some met work lately. You've done a lot of grab sampling. You have a very interesting methodology about how you go about your exploration project. And I want to kind of pick your brain about that a bit. But first, let's lead off with, you've been pretty active lately. You've been to London. You had a lot of activity at PDAC. That was very encouraging to see. How has your interactions been with investors and people in general on your travels?
No, that was really, really exciting for Puma to have the potential and the ability to meet those people. So yes, at the PDAC, that was one of the best PDAC for Puma for years and years, since the last 10 years. For sure, we have a great project, gold at surface, very high grade. So this is intriguing a little bit of people, because how we do the exploration, what would be the size and the location, mainly because there's a lot of exploration in Newfoundland, which is a lot more renewed, but the Bathurst area in New Brunswick has been really, really little explored for gold. So they were mainly, curious to see how we do things and what is the main geological setting. So in Europe, that for sure was great as well. They are bug gold, and so they really like gold. So that was also good to be able to meet those people. Yes.
So let's talk about your methodology, because it's a little bit different. Like I said, most exploration companies are out there. They get a geophysical target. They do a little bit of grab sampling, prospecting, and they go right to it. They start drilling and they step out really far. But you've kind of taken a little bit different approach in stripping, because by all accounts, your gold is sitting right on surface. This is kind of rare for a lot of exploration projects. So kind of walk us through the methodology and why are you doing it this way?
Yeah, because what we found there in New Brunswick, there's really, really little overburden. So which is mean there's a little bit of gravel only over the hard rock. So instead of trying to drill blind and, try to interpret where the gold could go, then we can just strip. But, this is one place in the world that you can do that, mainly because New Brunswick is one of the best places for permitting. We're allowed to do those kind of stripping. And one of the objectives of Puma has always been try to do very, very low cost exploration. So what this means is the drilling cost is the most expensive cost into the exploration. So, as much as you can, de-risk the drilling by knowing more or better what you drill, then you save costs. So by fact, our strategy is pretty simple. It's the whole ways to do mining exploration is walk in the wood, get some grab sample, get some real sample, then do trenching and stripping. But if you're talking about Abitibi Belt or some other places, there's 25, 30 meters of overburden. So you cannot do that. So that's a special, location in New Brunswick to do that exploration method as we did. So, but also we've been there for the last 20 years in Bathurst Camp, for sure, for base metal at the beginning, but we applied the same method, is to look the rock, see the rock, and then you drill those areas. So Puma, yes, it's a little bit thinking out of the box, as because we have the bulk sample permitted, it's really early into a process. Most of the time, the company do those kind of bulk when they do the pre-feasibility study or a PEA. But now we just already done it after only 2 years of real exploration. The reason why, if the gold, you cannot recover the gold, it doesn't mean anything to spend hundreds of thousands of meters of drilling, and then at the end you only have 40% recovery. So we can do it, so we try to do a little bit something different than the others, but the main thing is try to keep exploration costs as low as possible. Paved road, so all the project in northern New Brunswick, we have about 60,000 hectares there. We are all located within 25 kilometers from paved road. And most of them, you have access with logging road. You've been there. You know that you can go to Tim Horton and be 30 minutes after on site. So lodging is low cost. Everything is really exceptional in that part of New Brunswick.
See, everything from by my observation, everything's
Yeah,
been really awesome to see. You get to the site and you're walking on a deposit. You're not guessing what's down there and just, looking at geophysics and stuff. And I'm going to get into that because this is
yeah,
where my next question is going with the geophysics. But
yeah,
um, you know, you have a very large area that's stripped out. You've
yeah,
focused most of your attention on there, but you've also found other areas along. But this particular area, Links, the O'Neill
yeah,
Gold Trend,
yeah,
this is highlighted by a 7 kilometer trend on a contact point between your rhyolite and your sediments. And you've identified this as being an opportunistic area. So in
yeah.
2023, I understand you have a different methodology, but what's the step out drilling campaign going to look like this year versus maybe previous years of exploration?
Yeah. So, our technique is really systematic. First year, 2021, we did only 2,500 of meters of drilling.
Mhm.
That's when we say we go to school. So after a strip, we saw that and we did, sometimes you know what it is, exploration. Sometimes you have 10 meters of quartz vein and then nothing below. So we
Yeah.
did that 2,500 to confirm the gold was continuing at depth. And this is the discovery hole 5 gram over 50 meters. So
Yeah.
the second year, last year, we initiated 10,000 meters per gram to locate the contact and really do systematic drilling to find out if there's additional high-grade gold zone in it and where it was. So instead of trying to drill everywhere, we did systematic drilling everywhere. That's come up, and I think a few weeks ago or a month ago, we get out a news with the 3D model because at the time we didn't really know if those high grade was all related or connected together.
Mhm.
So that 3D model really show well this is very high grade gold shoot that they can be continuing at depth. But we have drilled only the first 100 meters of drilling
Mhm.
from surface. Why? Somebody asked me why you don't go 600 meters. Why? I prefer to do 5 holes of 100 meters and extend the zone at surface because one of the things is to maybe build an open pit operation, so you don't have to go 500 meters. And it can be higher grade at depth, but this is promoter talk about that. But it can be the same grade, but you need to start at surface, really understand the surface. And when I'm say low cost exploration, is not use investor money just to guess. I mean, we've done 10,000 meters, confirmed 3 high grade shoot, and now we're going to drill the only 300 shoot. So we want to show the expansion at depth, at length. So over 700 meters, we are initiate a 3,000 meters drilling program just to confirm that from 0 to 100, it's already good. Now we go from 100 to 200, but just drill the ore shoot. No systematic drilling to hit the contact. We know where it is. We have
Mhm.
done the work, home work last year. We know where it is. But then, you're totally right. We have a really nice magnetic anomaly over 10 kilometers. And during the last summer, we did trenching. So
Mhm.
because we already know well the length zone, we didn't have done so much trenching there, but we tried to trench other area. And we found out about 4 or 5, 6 new zone over 3 kilometers, just continuous to that,
Yeah.
that will need to be drilled. So we're going to drill about maybe a 2,500, same as we do the first initial drilling program, and we're going to do step out hole. So it won't be, let's say, 100 meter each. It depends the target, but we're going to have about 10 holes, 250 meters, and this work will be to find additional length zone. So somewhere else within 4 kilometers. But that is really the length gold trend. But also last year with the stripping and the trenching, we found out 3 additional zones: the Cougar, the Jaguar, and the Pantera. So
Yeah.
those are less advanced again. So it's always like 2, 3, 4 years of different stage of exploration. Some companies sometimes have it in different projects. We have the beauty in Williams Brook is we have 60,000 hectares. So within it, we have those different stage. So maybe length is not the best one. Who knows? But as we know now that the gold is at surface, very high grade, great recovery, we just keep to understand and characterizing the lengths at surface, the 100 meters. That's why we did the met test. We're going to do a bulk sample, is to really, really understand the nugget effect, the coarse grain gold, different things. And during the same time, during the summertime, we do the drilling below 100 meters and along strike. So that will be the main drilling operation for 2023. Yes.
See, I think an important point that maybe some of these people that might have some questions about your methodology are missing is
Yeah,
that in the end, when you come to do a PEA, you
yeah,
have to do systematic drilling, you have to do infill drilling, and you
yes,
have to do your met work. And you've kind of already done the pre-stripping, done the met work, done the grab sampling, done the geophysics, done everything. So
yes.
that when you come to do a PEA, you're ready. You have all the data already there. Am I wrong?
No, no, you're totally right. And for sure now we know where to focus a little bit more the work. Because let's say that we didn't have the great recovery and you
Mhm.
know it just at the end. So sometimes maybe some holes won't be drilled the same ways. Some other
Yeah.
stuff can be done. And then you have to redo some back end. Now we know there's no red flag anywhere. You know, we got out, there's no acid generating system on the veins. There's no sulfide, there's no arsenic,
Beautiful.
there's great recovery. They are at surface. So this is all different things that we don't have to work. Now, what we know is we need more gold. So that is why the work in 2023 will be to increase the gold inventory of the Lynx gold zone, Lynx gold trend, and the overall William Brook, because all the rest has been kind of de-risked. So this is really to add answers. Now we know, and even like the stripping we've done, gave us some hint how to drill. So once we're going to drill the 3 kilometers belt, like extending from where we are, so we might not need as much stripping as we did
Yeah.
because, you know, we've done a big strip area.
Mhm.
So we understood well how it is with the veins, the contact, and all, you know, the way that those shows can be represented in 3D. Now, with just a little bit more trenching, maybe a smaller strip area, we'll be
Mhm.
able to drill. That is the work base done since the last 2 years. Now we'll pay more on the next 5 years ahead of us.
Well, the future operators, if it's not you guys yourselves,
Yeah.
are going to be very pleased with what they're walking into on the property because you've already done all the stripping for them. It's ready to mine, essentially.
Yes, and also, you know, when we're talking with the some major company, that's what we've been doing since PDAC, is
Mhm.
they want to see the rock. They want to understand what could be the model and what could be the blue sky potential. You know, for sure they are not interested. They are, but my point is they are not just interested in the length zone. They are interested in the, you know, the potential gold camp that we have there. So all the pieces of, you know, the puzzle that we have found during the last 2 years that put everything together from maybe be low sulfidation, epithermal, orogenic gold, and even like a porphyry or gold related porphyry system because it's all there. Two major
Mhm.
fault, magnetic anomaly like Devonian intrusive, felsic dome, gold. You have everything to have multi million ounces of gold there. So now we just do it systematically to not skip step because sometimes you drill too fast,
Mhm.
you miss, and then you walk away. And 2 years after, somebody else find a mine. So we don't want to do that. And as the inflations go, we want to keep it as low exploration cost as possible.
Well, I've done some napkin math on the link
Yeah,
zone, and I mean, for the amount of ounces that are piling up there in the first 100 meters versus how much drilling you've done, I think you've done a marvelous job of keeping your costs very, very low for the amount of ounces that you're compiling. I'm not going to put out the number that I think is
yeah,
there, but I mean, I don't think it's any secret that I think that you are into a multi-million ounce gold camp, and you don't have to look very far. There's other projects in New Brunswick that are piling up ounces very similarly to what you're doing.
yeah,
Only yours is sitting right on surface. I love it. And I want you to elaborate on the met work because I think
yeah,
this is really important. I mean, you're getting
yeah.
92% in gravity alone, and
Yes.
then you're getting what 99.9% on the rest of the recoveries. Talk to us
Yeah.
about the importance of this work.
Yeah, there's first, you know, what we did last year was to do the test on a small piece of core. So really early stage to see if there's any red flag. So then this year, because we have the ability to have access to the veins, what we did is instead of having just a piece of core this side to do the test, we took 12 drums, 12 barrels of the quartz vein. So there's, you know, we're always talking about the length vein, but you should put a S at veins because there's
Mm-hmm.
multi veins there. So we try to do some met tests on the high grade veins, on the lower grade veins, on the barren veins. We want to see all of those. So we've been able to take about 3,000 kilograms. This is something significant. If you don't have access to the site as we have, we would not be able to do that. Like figure out how much drill hole that you need to fill out 1 drum. So it doesn't make sense. So we have right there access to the quartz vein, which is mean if it's still the same kind, 40% gravity I would be happy with it because this is spectacular. But yes, 92% was crazy. But the thing is fast permitting because you don't use chemical. I mean, you can just do gravity. For the people that they don't really understand what gravity circuit is like a a clothes washer machine. You put instead of clothes in it, you put some rock, like really fine grains of rock. You put that with water because the gold is heavy. You extract the gold. So you don't have chemical. You don't need a big system. And you don't have tailings, you don't have anything like bad for as I said, the environmental. There's no arsenic, there's nothing else. So having gravity, the one that we had about 90% of the gold and 5% of the mass. So if I give you an example, I mean, if you have 100,000 tons of quartz vein, you treat it, then you have 92% of the gold in 5,000 tons. So then the cost of transportation, or it's really low again because you don't have to manage 100,000 tons of material. You just can sell that. And then you're right. If you do some leach, if you do some other tests after, then you get up to 99.7. So the main important part of it was, can we recover the gold? And the answer is yes. Can we do it pretty well? The answer is yes, yes, yes. So this is why we did that. And also because if we're talking about an open pit operation, then, acid generating was really important. It come up to be none. No arsenic, no sulfide, nothing. So all that met tests, it's help also when we're talking with the stakeholder. Because when I go and meet the First Nation or the local people from San Quentin or the government, when they see that we did the homework, that it's, for sure, all mines disturb a bit the ground, that's for sure. But there's really, really good ways to make it happen. And so far, sometimes that we don't control, but so far we're so lucky as the met test comes so far.
No, you hit on all the points I was hoping you would, because that's exactly it. I mean, ESG funds are going to love this moving forward. Majors are going to love this moving forward. It simplifies the permitting process, and there's not going to be as many moot points with environmental issues. I mean, you're checking all the boxes, Marcel, moving this project ahead. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the district.
Yeah, exactly, because I was to comment that, because the district, the only thing I would like more is other companies working around, because we have been the first mover in the area. So what this means, since 20 years, we've been...
Marcel, stop buying all the land then, because you're taking it from everybody else.
Yeah, but this is all what we saw. And also, there's always company or prospector that we call the proximite. The proximite are, Puma stake a ground there, and there's other like prospector or just people around that they stake around. But now, those people, we had what we thought was the best, they stake around, and now those ground collapse. So they are expiring. So we just now stake back. So we don't have to deal and make some other deals to acquire ground. And yes, for sure, the land package is something really significant when I'm talking with, the fund manager or something, because you cannot just have a small piece, because if you have a big piece, then you can have multi-deposit and have multi-millions on ounces of gold in it. So that's really important. But having be there for the first mover, there's not so much other company to work around like Newfoundland. That's a big difference, because, when Newfound Gold get out some drill result, Labrador or Marathon or some other company around that they are in the same belt, so they have visibility and they have people that they're buying just because they are neighbor. New Brunswick has same age rock, same kind of mineralization, same everything, but we don't have the same visibility so far. So I can't wait that there's more people. I have stake what I want. So, it's not like 50 years ago, then all the prospector and company was shy to tell what they have, or, try to do all the little hidden thing. As much company there would be great for the entire New Brunswick, and mainly the Puma itself.
Tides rise all ships, right? And
Yeah.
it's one person's success can also be yours, and that's a very good philosophy to have. And I agree. I think New Brunswick should be getting a whole lot more attention, because there's some pretty significant projects like yours in the north,
Yeah.
and there's some pretty significant projects down in the south. I'm not going to give any plugs, but there's some good ones out there, and I don't think New Brunswick gets the love that it should be getting. But that day will change, because Newfoundland was just the same thing just a few years ago before the newfound gold discovery. So,
Yeah, but they start exploring Newfoundland in the 90s,
yeah,
91, 92. That's old exploration history there. And
yeah.
the thing is, Bathurst Camp was renewed for base metal. Noranda hold about 80% of the province as claim, and they were only looking for zinc and copper. So there's, I don't know anywhere else like that you can find an area between the gold camp that there's never been explored. I mean, there were never like aerial survey on where we are. There were never trench. I mean, the O'Neill gold trend never been drilled. So figure out in 2 years the amount of work done. We all start with one grab sample in the cliff. Now we have defined a zone of 700 meters long up to, let's say, 100 meters deep so far, 75 meters wide, all strip, good recovery in 2-3 years without about $8 million investment only since 3 years. So this is, this is a big upside of doing that. Drilling cost is less than $300 a meter. You should ask the people that they do exploration in James Bay or remote area. I mean, it's probably $800-900 a meter. So that's a big difference.
It's up there. I know even I've got some projects in the States, and their costs are just exorbitant. I can't believe it. So you've done a really good job for the costs, like we've talked about here. That's fantastic. So a couple things that you
great location. I mean, crown land. So because we don't have to deal with the private landowner, and that new thing, nothing in my backyard. This is reality now. I mean, everybody wants EV, everybody wants green energy, but we need mines to do it. And, having access to crown land with a good relationship with the First Nation will be key. I mean, I know project that they have probably more gold ounces than Puma, but they won't never produce 1 ounces because it's too close from a town, or people, the forestry company or whatever, name it, they don't want them to be there. So that's now the risk is not just to the project itself as it was when I started like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, what was the commodity? Gold, perfect, we send a check. Now, if it's infrastructure around, I mean, if it's a crown land, you have social acceptabilities and where it is. So there's a lot of bucks to check compared to what it was years, and not too much years ago. 10 years ago was not as much as it is right now.
Yeah, no, and it's been a lot worse as the years have gone on, because environmental issues are becoming more and more at the forefront. But like you said, you've checked all the boxes. You've been working with communities, you've been working with First Nations, you've done the stripping, you've got all your met testing done, everything looks good. Marcel, you've got a really great looking project. But this is next to a base metal mining camp.
Yes.
And, a few years ago when you first started on this project, one of the first things you discovered was some copper. And that got spun out, and you now hold some shares of that company as an asset. And that's all great. But I can't help but wonder, are there more base metal mining opportunities within your land package? Or are you just seeing gold across the entire land package? Because, I mean, everybody's so focused on battery metals and stuff like that nowadays. I mean, you might have an opportunity beyond the gold to bring more eyes into the project.
No, I totally agree with you. That's the strategy we did in, I think, 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we decided to go for Williams Brook and gold. We said, I cannot put 2 hats on. I don't want to raise money for copper and then gold. But I knew at the time that, copper was really, really great. All the electric vehicle, all the energy transition was coming. So that's the reason why we spin off the copper. And we have a nice exposure. We have about 9% of a company. They are trading well. Hopefully, they're going to go to $2-3 because it's going to mean like $13-14 million in my treasury having that ownership. but as well, because we're so close from the Bathurst camp, yes. And Puma, every year we do kind of a review of the opportunities in our land package. And we have some battery metals like cobalt and copper, nickel that is going to be explored. We don't want to chase for it. We don't want to add more ground, but has the rule in New Brunswick to keep the claim in good standing. We have a bit of work to be done, but we're going to direct those work into the battery metal space, but no acquisition, nothing else. It's really, really to focus on what we have. Gold, Williams Brook will be the main flagship, but as we have to do some work, why not try to create value on shareholders and having some other stuff instead of just gold? Yes.
See, I was going to ask you to break down your 2023 exploration campaign, but I think we've covered kind of where your head's at and where you're going to go with that. So I guess we'll just kind of wrap this up here with why invest in Puma, Marcel?
Because this is the best company. You should know it, because you always ask that to a promoter. No, because if you want, it's pretty easy. I mean, we do low cost exploration. I mean, everybody now knows it. When you do your grocery, it's crazy how it went with gas, everything. So we need to keep it really, really low cost exploration to help to avoid as much as possible dilution. And what is the main point is high grade gold at surface, right at surface. So I already told about like a strawberry field. Remember that one? I said that we just have to bend and it's kind of strawberry field. But this is true. For sure, we have to remove a bit the gravel. So high grade gold at surface, great recovery, no chemical so far to be used, and open pit possible in Canada in one of the best jurisdictions. So, this is the main key point there. And some people say about, the price. You have a 50% discount on last year. So, it's a great discount right now. And for sure, gold, you saw it cross the $2,000. I mean, I think there's a nice looking view for the gold in the short term. So I think if you want to get a really good exploration company that they put money in the ground, not in salary or a big vehicle or cars, we do it, real geologists doing real work, and that's going to pay off.
Love it. Marcel, thanks so much for joining me. You've been watching Marcel Robillard, the president and CEO of Puma Exploration. Again, you can find Puma on the TSX Venture under PUMA. Thanks again for joining me today, Marcel.
Thank you, Mike. And don't forget to come back on site. You should come in probably June, because this is the lobster season.
This year we're going to try and get down there a little bit earlier. We keep going there in the fall, and the weather is not always necessarily favorable for us. So we'll definitely make it there a little bit sooner this year.
Thank you, Mike. Have a
Cheers.
great day.